To understand why interest in Princess Madeleine of Sweden and her family has intensified in recent months, we need to go back to 2013, when the youngest daughter of the Swedish royals had a grand wedding with American financier Chris Wanil. At that time, happiness was at its peak as the princess had found her love in New York after a tumultuous period when she had to break off her first engagement to Jonas Bergstrom. However, after the impressive wedding, the atmosphere around the couple began to change, and now that they have returned to Stockholm, the same old controversy is resurfacing. Once again, comparisons are being made between Princess Madeleine's husband and Meghan Markle. To what extent does his refusal to become a prince create a problem for the Swedish royal family? It should be noted that Chris Wanil was clear from the very beginning he respects everything related to the monarchy, but his wish is to remain simply Chris Wanil without accepting any privileges, titles, rights, duties, or citizenship. Therefore, before the wedding was announced, the couple agreed with the royals and the institution that the princess's husband would not become a prince nor a Swede and would not participate in public events outside of family life. Initially, this did not create any problems. On the contrary, in an era of streamlined monarchies, it simplified the structure of the institution, which already has Crown Princess Victoria and the heir presumptive, Estelle. We should also not forget the branch of Prince Carl Philip, the king's beloved son, one of the pillars of the institution, and standing in the line of succession before Princess Madeleine. Nevertheless, to clarify the situation, ease his youngest daughter's path amid constant questions about whether she could raise her family of Swedish princes outside of Sweden, King Carl Gustaf narrowed the core of the royal family in 2019. The king made it clear that in the future, the only ones who would perform the functions of representing the state would be Princes Estelle and Oscar, the children of the Crown Princess and Daniel Westling. Thus, the children of Carl Philip and Madeleine would be free to choose other professional careers and could also be raised outside of Sweden. For a time, this reform calmed the situation, but with the family's decision to return to Stockholm, doubts about Chris Wanil's status resurfaced. The royal family was forced to clarify under which citizenship he would reside in the country. It was then reminded that the American financier also has the right by birth to British and German citizenship, under the latter of which he would reside in Sweden. Nevertheless, interest in them has not waned, and the couple is facing a new life in which what Princess Madeleine's husband feared the most is happening, living in a place where every step is watched and where he loses the anonymity he had in Florida. At the moment, when the couple has been married for more than 10 years, and thus for more than 10 years resisting becoming a prince, it does not seem that the royal family needs him, nor that he himself is striving to join it. However, it has become clear that, judging by the interest sparked by his arrival and all his actions, including a quiet walk on his birthday with his daughter, Princess Leonor, Chris Wanil's life has indeed been thrown into chaos. It is worth recalling that in 2019, the Swedish royal family announced an unexpected measure. King Carl Gustaf decided to narrow the core members of the royal family. It was established that from 2020 onwards, the children of Princes Carl Philip and Madeleine would cease to be Her Royal Highness and members of the royal family, and the possibility that they would have any obligations or rights related to the headship of the state in the future was excluded. Since then, attention has completely shifted to Princess Estelle, the heir presumptive, and her brother Prince Oscar. However, coinciding with Princess Madeleine's return to Stockholm and on the occasion of Princess Victoria's birthday, an image of the entire family together appeared once again. Given that in recent years, Princess Victoria's brothers and sister attended her birthday without their children, who remain princes of Sweden, but without institutional prospects, it was unclear who would participate in the celebration of the 47th birthday of the heir presumptive. Therefore, it was somewhat surprising to see the confirmation that the whole family gathered at Borgholm Castle. King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia appeared together with their 3 children, 2 sons-in-law, a daughter-in-law, and 8 grandchildren. For the first time in many years, no one missed the summer appearance, which was once crowded but had since started losing members. In previous years, Princes Carl Philip and Sofia of Sweden also attended the traditional concert in honor of the crown princess, but did so without their children, resulting in Princes Alexander, Gabriel, and Julian remaining relatively unknown. Princess Madeleine, in turn, always fulfilled her duties to her sister, sometimes alone, sometimes with her husband, Chris Winnell, whose involvement in public life has always been a subject of controversy since he refused to be part of the royal family and did not wish to take on any obligations or privileges. It should be reminded that the narrowing measure taken by King Carl Gustaf in 2019, although it caused some confusion among local media, came after long-standing demands for Princess Madeleine and her family to play a more active role in the official agenda. For me, it is a way to clarify what expectations exist, the monarch explained at the time, opening the possibility for his youngest daughter and grandchildren to live in the United States and freely decide their fate, which allowed Chris Winnell to continue his business projects. 5 years later, Princess Madeleine's days in Florida have come to an end, and the entire family has returned to Stockholm, sparking the same media interest that has always surrounded Princess Madeleine and everything related to her. Princess Victoria's birthday became the starting point for the official return of this branch of the family and was carefully analyzed. Has the princess's husband already learned traditional Swedish songs? And what does he do in his free time at the royal summer residence in the town of Åland? According to the Swedish press, he plays tennis with his brother-in-law, Prince Carl Philip, with whom he has an excellent relationship. Summer is coming to an end, both officially and unofficially, which usually brings part of the royal family to Villa Mirage, a residence near St. Tropez, and only the start of the school year will reveal more information. The institution faces the task of reintegrating Princess Madeleine into the agenda where she was no longer considered and deciding what presence the younger generation of the family will have. Meanwhile, the focus remains on the one who is considered the wild card of the Bernadotte family, resisting becoming part of the system and not feeling comfortable in public, American Chris Winnell. In this context, King Carl Gustaf, who has been on the throne for more than half a century, faces the challenge of determining how much space he will leave for those who in the future will not be associated with the headship of the state, and whether he has changed his plans now that Princess Madeleine no longer needs to live and raise her children outside the kingdom. Princess Madeleine's return to Sweden and her family's has once again drawn attention to her husband, Chris Winnell. His decision to refuse titles and official duties in the royal family, while simplifying the institution's structure, does not exempt him from public interest and media scrutiny. In 2019, King Carl Gustaf decided to narrow the circle of royal family members, leaving only the closest heirs to perform state functions. This allowed Princess Madeleine and her children more freedom in choosing their future, but returning to Sweden has once again brought questions about Chris Winnell's role to the forefront. His reluctance to be part of official royal life, although justified by his personal choice, attracts attention and prompts public discussion. The current situation raises important questions about how the royal family should manage its image, internal affairs in modern conditions, how Princess Madeleine and her family will be integrated into Swedish life, and how this will affect their position and perception in society remains unclear. Chris Winnell remains a key figure in this context. Despite his desire for personal independence, he and his family are becoming the subject of constant interest and discussion. This highlights that even in a changing world of monarchy, personal preferences and public expectations continue to play an important role in shaping the future of the royal family.